What's up, YouTube? What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Ready to Love, you guys. This is season 6, episode 3, you guys. The episode is titled Opposites Don't Always Attract, you guys. Now, before we go ahead and jump into this review, you guys, if you guys are watching this video or any other on my channel and you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date, having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know you can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also by turning on your post notifications, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Ready to Love. All right, you guys. So moving forward, I think pretty soon Ready to Love is going to be a live review because I don't have a lot of time for this because it's now gotten to the point where I'm actually frustrated with the show like usual. So this episode is the men's week to send one of the ladies home. All right, welcome to our gentleman's lounge. So I want you guys with your shirt over here. Your shirt always come in, and your shirt is just always just a little bit on the too tight side. I was like, Tom, man, I know you ain't wanting to talk about somebody's shirt being too tight when your shirt don't fit the season. You look like you are a sweaty, musty demon. And that's what I'm trying to figure out with this episode. Like, baby, what is the weather in Miami? Some people got on short sleeve shirts. Some people got on coats and whatnot. I'm like, is it hot? Is it cold? What's the weather in Miami? So he's at the Swayze, by the way. So this week, I want you guys to listen to me when I say what I say to you. So this week, Tommy wants the men to pick somebody that they normally wouldn't pick. I know you got your connections, but pick somebody that you normally wouldn't pick. And what I want you to do is I want you to stimulate the mind and, come up with a creative date and leave your he didn't say libido. He did not say libido. How did he pronounce libido? He said it some other way. So the thing that bothered me in this scene with some of the men, so they were talking about the dating pool out there in Miami, right? I don't know what the dating pool in Miami is like. I don't live in Miami. I know what the dating pool here is in Texas. I only know Texas. So Miami, I don't know. But somebody said that the women are superficial. They want a woman, you can look good from here and here, but up here in the mind, there's nothing there. They don't have a lot of substance. I was like, wow, some of you men are one to talk, because when I look at y'all, I don't get any kind of substance from you, and I get very much superficial from a lot of you men. But okay, it's no substance. So yeah, it's hard to find a woman of true substance and superficial. Then it's hard to find intellect. I'm like substance, intellect, and superficial. I think I'm looking at that with quite a few of you guys. But hey. And when Tommy told them to go out on a date with someone that they normally wouldn't, bitch, they missed the mark. They missed the mark, with the exception of one person. We're going to talk about him in a minute. So you guys, let's go ahead and just pause right here and let's talk about this episode, shall we? Let's get into the dates. So the first date we see is LJ, and he's going out with Looney, right? So you guys remember Looney has had COVID, so Looney didn't get to make it to the mixer in the last episode. So Looney just feels a little behind. And is that her? I wonder if that's her real name, like Looney, or if that's the nickname. Now Charisse has said that about Looney instead of what was her name? Dominica. I would have understood it because Looney doesn't sound like an actual first name. Because when you say Looney, it sounds like you want to say Looney Tunes. No, I'm not being shade. I'm just saying it sounds like Looney Tunes. No shade. So she says to him that he was the first and the only person that asked for her phone number. Okay, cool. So he asked her, what is she looking for in this process? She says she wants someone who is genuine. She wants someone who will prioritize their relationship. And she, so yeah, I'm cool with that. If you're in I just have a question. How many people have you dated that don't prioritize their relationship? You know what? People do that, but you also have to if someone doesn't prioritize your relationship, then you have to then realize, okay, this is not conducive for me. If you can't, if you people make time for what they want, and if that person can't make time for you, then you got to say, you know what, I tried it, I'm out, deuces, bitch. So then he also asks her, how does she want to be treated? And she tells him that, she wants to be treated, she wants to feel protected, right? Because she says she doesn't have any family. Her mother died in 2016. And I felt that because my mom died in 2017. So, and I kind of feel, even though I have a very, very big family, I still do feel alone at times. I have my cousins who, make me feel a part of make me feel, included in things, but I still do feel somewhat like an outsider sometimes. So I get where she's coming from. And, he's talking about the fact that his family lives, doesn't live live here. Is his family? He's from the Virgin Islands, right? I guess his family is in VI. Okay. So the next day we have is Shakira and Zou. So they're on a date, right? I was really confused by Shakira's outfit. I was just confused. She looked. Remember, you guys, I said last week Shakira looks very young. She doesn't look like she's in her 30s at all. But then what throws it off with Shakira is she had this ponytail to the side, that flower up here, and these really short, these kind of shorts, and her top. I was like, you look like a schoolgirl. I wouldn't have picked that outfit to wear because you look like somebody's school child. You literally look like someone's school child. But hey, she wore it. I ain't judging her. So Zoe asked her how's her son, and she says, he's good. So then that led her to ask him, so I know that you live a lifestyle on the go. So do you normally date women that have kids? He says to her that he doesn't have a preference in that area, which is good, right? So then Shakira went on this little tangent about him not asking for her number at the mixer. And I was thinking about that because Looney said that, right? That LJ was the only person to ask for her number. I think when y'all exchange numbers, y'all that makes the situation move a lot faster, right? That's why I keep saying with Ready to Love, I feel like Ready to Love needs to do it, kick it Big Brother style, right? Put them in a house together for however long this process is. Put them in a house together so that way that we see the connections, so we don't have to decipher. Because that's the thing. That's one of the things with Ready to Love that I do get irritated with and annoyed with every season is the fact that these people exchange numbers at the mixer. I don't have a problem with them exchanging numbers. I have a problem with the fact that when we see connections and we like, how did this connection build? Oh, we've been texting for days and weeks and we've been DMing each other. Well, we don't see that, so that makes it even more confusing for us. And that's why I say, on top of the editing and the fact that these people exchange numbers with each other, so they be meeting off camera, they be talking on the phone all night, they be FaceTiming, they be in the DMs and stuff. We miss a lot of stuff. We don't have a lot of context to some of these dates and stuff. And it's frustrating. Sorry, you guys, I didn't mean to spit. It's just very frustrating when it comes to Ready. There are a lot of things about Ready to Love that do frustrate me. That's one of them. Am I in your top or am I in your bottom? That's the second most frustrating thing that frustrates me. And then, actually, that's number one is, am I in your top or am I in your bottom? And then the other thing that frustrates me, it just feels like this is a numbers game to me, you guys. But that's that for those two. I'm going to pause here, you guys, and we're going to move forward. All right, you guys. So the only person who literally followed what Tommy said and went out with someone that they ordinarily would not go out with is Samson. Samson went out with Uninterested, aka Charisse. I ain't got much for this date because I wasn't listening. You guys know how I feel about Cherise. I don't like Cherise, so I can't really give you much about it. I did listen to their conversation with each other. It was actually at first Cherise was in her phone, but then it turned into actually kind of a pleasant conversation. I was like, wow, so Cherise can be a nice person. You know what? When it comes to Cherise, I just don't think. Well, I was about. Because she's had some issues with some of the guys too, so it goes back to what I said in my second review, which was last week, right? Yeah, it goes back to what I said in last week's review. Cherise just has pretty girl syndrome. Somebody told Charisse she was pretty, so Charisse doesn't feel like she has to put in any effort when it comes to dating. But I hate to tell you, Charisse, but whoever told you you were pretty, they lied to you. You ain't that. You're not. You're pretty, but you ain't that pretty. You're not that pretty, girl. You ain't that cute. I know that might sound mean or rude, but you're not that cute. I just gotta kick it real. You're a beautiful woman, but your personality and your attitude makes you ugly. It makes you ugly. Just saying. But Samson is feeling her. I was like, really? I was like, well, look like we stuck with Charisse for a few weeks. Unfortunately, we're gonna be stuck with Charisse. So next up, you guys, we have a group date that Mike set up. This is the other thing that I was trying to think about. What else is it about Ready to Love that I can't stand? It's they build the connections off camera that we don't see. It's the am I in your top or am I in your bottom? It's the numbers game. And then it is a damn group date, you guys. If there is one thing that if I had to pick the top two things that I hate the most, am I in your top? Am I in your bottom? That's number one. And then these damn group dates. So Mike has set up for them to go trapeze, go to do trapeze. You guys know I don't like the dates where it's all about working out, because trapeze is a bit of a workout. And when I think about going on a date, I don't want to get sweaty. Now, if we're having a picnic or something, if we go to an amusement park or something like that, that's different, because that's something like little. I mean, I'm not saying trapeze is not fun, but I don't want to be upside down. I don't want to be any of that kind of stuff, right? And I don't want to be sweaty by the end of the date. Like I stated, if we're doing an outdoor activity, if we're having a picnic, that's fine. I know and here in Texas, if you do a picnic in the summer, you're gonna be a little sweaty. That's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm not really cool with that, but I can overlook it if you bring up one of them little fans that we can blow ourselves. If we go to an amusement park, we're just gonna be walking around. Again, we can have one of them fans that we can blow ourselves. But anything that's physical fitness, I don't want to do it. So it's Mike on this date. We got Justice and we had Swayze. And then we had, I realized this at a certain point in this scene, that it was more women than it was men, because it was April, Looney, Kayla, and Charisse were there, right? So now Justice, he just seemed very, well, you know what, even though I just said I wouldn't have wanted to participate, I wouldn't want to do a date that is physical. Even if we get on it, I'd be like, okay, this ain't really my kind of idea of a date, but I'll participate just for the fun of it, right? Justice didn't want to. Okay, whatever, sir. So at one point, Kayla and Mike went to the side to talk, right? And I didn't see any kind of connection between those two. Just gonna keep it real with you. No connection. I saw nothing between them two. So then, while they were talking, April came and sat down. So when April sat down, now here's my thing with April. Why did you go talk to him? If you said earlier that when it comes to him, actually you said this after you guys got into a little argument with each other. He's broke, right? And he ain't tried to make no attempts to get to know you like that. Why are you pushing it? So then he's the one that brought up, am I in your top or am I in your bottom? I was like, yep, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. These people got to be getting a stipend. Like, that's all that this gives, is these people find out when they get cast, and they tell them, okay, da 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 da. But hey, if you make it to the end, you will get we'll pay you, let's just say $1,000 every week that you stay on the show. I really get that these people get a stipend. I get the fact that these people get a stipend. So while him and April and Mike were going back and forth, you guys, the one thing that I did notice about Mike, and I'm not trying to be like shady or anything at all, I just noticed this, actually I've been noticing it all around I wonder why is it normal for someone's eyes to be so black around? Because his eyelids are like, well, are mine black? No. Like his eyelid, like it looked like he has a complete shadow around his eyes. I was like, is that normal? I've never saw anybody whose eyes are like that. Never. Now I know people who has dark spots under their eyes from bags, but I mean, hell, I got bags, but I ain't never saw nobody whose eyelids are just really dark and never mind. Never mind. So then we see Justice. So Justice is having a conversation with Looney. He talks about, he says to us, he's just trying to reacclimate her. Okay, Justice. I still don't see what the women see in Justice. Nothing there. Nothing. Then Swayze, he's having a conversation with Kayla. The thing that still bothers me with Justice, I mean not Justice, but Swayze, is the fact that one, he looks like Mr. T. That haircut, I don't know what that is. Then his big bushy eyebrows. Then this mustache. This mustache just sits here. It doesn't connect to any, it doesn't connect. It does nothing. It's just like, sir, you look like Porn Stash from Orange is the New Black, the black version of him. You just look creepy. You look a little creepy. So Kayla asked him, you know, where can she find him at? I was like, huh? Well, I'm not looking for you like that. But I guess she's asking him, where does he typically hang out at? Then she asked him something that he can improve on. He paused. She said, oh, so Swayze is perfect. He says, no, you know what? If I can improve on something, it would be saving, because he spends a lot of money. I can concur with that. Well, no, I don't. I was about to say I spend a lot of money, but I really don't. I'm actually a kind of a cheap person. Was this in the same scene? Yes, it was. So then we move over to Mike and Charisse, you guys. So they're talking. Now, this conversation with Mike and Charisse, both of them were a turn off. Both of them. I'm not just going to come at Charisse. I'm going to come at Mike because of something he said to her. So they were talking, and she was telling him how she has some reservations when it comes to him because he is divorced and he has kids. And she called it baggage. Now, I was like, well, that's a little bit rude to say that his kids are baggage. I get you don't have any kids, but don't say baggage. Be like, there are so many ways that Charisse could have worded that and not offended him. She could have said, you know, for me, you're divorced and you have kids. And for me, I live my life a certain way. I chose not to have kids, and I don't really want to take on anyone else's kids. Something like that. You can always be mindful of what you say and how you say it. So then he told her that he found it to be a red flag that she doesn't have any kids. How in the hell is that a red flag that she doesn't have kids? Some women and men know that they just don't want kids. So I'm kind of confused as to how that's a red flag, but if you say so, sir. And then she says that, you know, she doesn't want to date someone who has been married or has kids. I'm like, unless you're gonna date a man, I'm trying to think of what age you could date. You can't even really date anybody. Now, if you don't want anybody who's married, you're gonna have to go very low. You have to go low, like 20s to mid 30s, and even then, it's iffy. It's a if you find somebody in their 30s who has not been married and they didn't marry young. So good luck with that, Cherise. I think that's pretty much it. Both of them rubbed me the wrong way in that scene. So yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and pause here and let's move forward. All right, you guys, so next up, let's talk about Randall. So, once again, you guys, nobody followed what Tommy said. I got what Randall was saying to us about him. So he's going out on a date with Trinika, right? And I got what he was saying about Trinika, but it still didn't align with what Tommy said. Tommy said take out someone that the opposite of what you would normally go for. And I get it. He says that him and Trinika have a connection with each other. Okay, I get that. He says that him and Trinika haven't had a conversation with each other like that, a long conversation. But that wasn't the objective this week. The objective was to get out of your comfort zone and see something different. But he didn't do that. So, yeah, I mean, it was literally to get out of your comfort zone. But okay, I mean, I'm not being, I am a little bit shady. But like, did nobody, was Samson the only one that understood what Tommy's lesson was this week? And you guys, I do want to say, as much as I crack jokes on people, so I'm gonna stop right here and I'm just gonna talk to you guys, and we're just gonna talk about the cast. So there's only a select few people that I like so far. For the women, let's think about who I like. I do like Shakira. I just wish that when that conversation with Zou, she didn't talk about him asking for a phone number. I like Shakira. I like Looney. I like Brandy. I like Trinika. We'll talk about Katie in just a minute. So it was 9 women. I like April, but they didn't show a lot of April, right? As far as the men go, I only like Samson, even though him and Zou in the men's lounge said what they said about women of substance and all the and intellect and everything. That pissed me off and rubbed me wrong. I still do like them. I still do like Samson. I like only men so far that I can say I like is Zou, Samson, and Randall. That's it. Other than that, I don't see it for any other men. I just don't. You guys can let me know who you guys see it for as far as the women and the men. I don't see it for a lot of them. I don't see it for a lot of them. So, while Randall and Trinika are on their date, he asked her about her last relationship. She said it was in 2019. And she says, that since then, she's been doing the work on herself. She's taking herself out on dates and so good for her. So he asked her, what does she want? And she says she wants a physical, a spiritual, and emotional connection, and she wants a partner. Amen to that. Now, Trinika, we cool. I like you. The thing that kind of made me cringe just a little bit was when you were rubbing on Randall. Oh, that makes me cringe. I cringe at the thought of people touch. It ain't nothing personal. I'm just not. I think that goes to the fact that I'm not a physical touch person. So I can't be in a relationship with someone who is about physical touch. I can't be, because that's just, you won't get. You'll get the hugs, you'll get the kisses, we can hold hands, right? But I'm not a PDA. I don't do it in public. I never do it. I'm not that person. When I see people, speaking of which, you guys, speaking of PDA, someone almost hit me yesterday because I was at a light, right? And I'm on my brakes, stopped. This man and this woman, which they, mind you, I was in it's 2 turning lanes that I was in. It was 2 turning lanes. I was in the far right turn lane to turn to the left. This motherfucker's in the lane next to me. You can't turn. So he just, when the light turned green for us to turn, here he comes, and I'm like, you bitch. So then I get in front of them. Then these bitches at the next light, they almost hit me because they want to kiss at the light. Girl, I told him, and I looked him and her. She saw me when I passed by them the first time, and she just looked. And then they looked at me again when they almost hit me. I'm like, yeah, you hit this car, I'm gonna whoop your ass. But yeah, so for me, and I guess that with Trinika, I'm assuming physical touch is one of your love languages. I hate talking about love languages, but I guess that's one of your love languages is physical touch. For me, like I said, I clam up when people touch me, especially. I clam up when people touch me. I really do. It's just something that I've always done since I was a kid. I've never really liked people touching me. It takes a while to get to that point, but I definitely know for a fact that in public, don't do it, because I can't reciprocate, because it makes me cringe. It makes me cringe. But yeah, let's pause here, you guys. Let's move forward. So next up, you guys, we have Mike, Katie, and Swayze and Brandy. Now this date was cool. They did archery. This was cool. This is what I'm saying. This date didn't involve us getting sweaty and physical. This date, you literally just taking the bow, the arrow, and letting it go. That was fun. I was cool with that. I'm like, now this is a fun date. Still on the cheap side, but it's fun. So Katie and Mike were talking at one point. So she asked him how long did he last in his previous relationship when not being happy. He says, maybe a year after. All right. So Swayze, I feel like Swayze is full of himself. That's all I gotta say. So Mike and Katie, at one time point, they went and sat down and talked to each other. Now, Mike called her uptight. She got offended by that, and I was with her I was with her on that standpoint of being upset. She says she's free spirited, but then she tells him she's introverted, and then he called her aggressive at one point in his interview, and he says she's judging him. But I'm like, you just judged her as well, so pot meet kettle. So then Brandy came over, and in this moment when I was looking at Mike, I'm like, yep, Mike is just here for. Could Mike be looking for love? Maybe, maybe not. But Mike is also here for a numbers game as well. Let's keep it real. Let's be real. It's a numbers game when it comes to Mike. So then we see the men. They're talking to Tommy. And like I said earlier, the men that I'm not feeling is Mike, Justice, and Swayze. And then the fact that Justice brought up the fact that Katie and DM'd him at 1 in the morning. What they got to do with the price of tea in China? So in the end, they eventually sent home April, which I figured it. I'm like, y'all are gonna do everything y'all can to keep Charisse around. That annoys me too, keeping people around just because y'all feel like they're gonna bring in some damn ratings. But that's it, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about Rated to Love. Leave your comments in the comment section below, you guys. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your post notifications and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, you guys. Be blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.